Hi class, it's Miss Miller here, and today what I'd like to do is talk with you about how to construct strong sentences. In an effort to do so, I may make several references to the gym or working out, and this is just to get you into beast mode. Now, what I'd like to do is I want you to think about the bar at the gym, and I want you to think about a sentence and think of them synonymously. And what I mean by that is the bar is our starting point. And just like in a sentence, we have a starting point, our subject and our verb. And we have to create balance. And it's the strongest part of the sentence. And this, we can't lift weights without the bar, when you're doing free weights at least. And you can't have a sentence without your subject and your verb. Now there's two sides to this particular bar, and you'll see exactly what I mean in terms of how do we add or extend our ideas based on the subject and the verb. How do we become a writing warrior? We do this by adding weights to our sentence. Okay, so we can do this by taking a look at the action in our sentence, look at the verb, and say, okay, how can I make this more detailed? What can I do to extend on this idea? And on the other side, you're looking at it and you address your subject and say, how can I create balance and add more detail to expand my subject? The goal is you want your weights to get heavier and heavier. Depending on what you're doing, you want to take weights off, add it on, but you want to have the option to do that. Now, the third way in which you can expand your sentence is really literally to add a phrase or two to your actual sentence. So first is to add to the noun or the subject or the who or what, then to the verbs, and then the entire sentence. So we'll spend the next few weeks doing just that. Today, however, what we're going to do is focus on the action or the verb. So we're going to focus on one side of this bar. What can we do to add weights, to add power, to take it on and off, depending on what we need? And so some of the ways that you can do that is to tell where something happened, why something happened, how something happened, when something happened, and under what conditions or circumstances something may have happened. And you probably notice when you're writing, I may make a note on your essay or your paragraphs, when did this happen? Why did it happen? How? Here's your opportunity to be a little bit more deliberate in your response. Now, this is a good time to press pause, and this is so that you can record as many of these terms as you can. These are the starting points, and so I want you to get them, their action power. When you tell why, you've got to use these phrases. You start with because, and then you have a group of words that follow. You start with so that, or since, or to action, meaning like to plus a verb. And then you have your condition group. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can have although, even though, even if. So for example, I know many teachers tell you not to begin a sentence with because, and it's because they assume that you're going to use that phrase. But when you make it just a small part of your sentence, then you can do it. So because there was no one home, comma, then the child did not enter the room, or did not enter the door, through the door. Okay, and then the condition might be, even though I was full, I still ate everything on my plate. So those are the conditions. And the condition group is even though I was full. And then the part of the sentence that's already done is, I ate everything on my plate. There's a subject and a verb. But we'll talk about what that looks like a little bit later. Here are some more ways that you can add weights to your sentence for the action power. So this is the where group. We like to double those up, and we get really more concise with these. Above water, across the street, against the wall, along the pavement. So remember, it's a phrase, it's a group of words that sort of go together collectively to help add to your sentence. And this list is pretty long, so try to write these down, press pause. They're in alphabetical order, and I find these very helpful. Then you can also tell when something happened and how something happened. All of these, remember, is going to expand the action or the verbs in your sentence. There's a couple of rules I want you to think about. One is when you have that trigger word, you need to add a group of words. The other one is that whatever you add to the front, you can move it to the back. Whatever is in the back, you can move it to the front. And you're going to see what that looks like when we hit reverse. And then when you have a phrase with 4 or more words in it, at least at the beginning phrase, like if that's how you're beginning your sentence, you want to place a comma. And then if you have an entire formula written out and you're not sure where to start, always start with the who or what and the action. Once you know who you're talking about and what you want them to do, then you can fill up the rest of the space. Let's take a look at a basic sentence. Now you should write these down. Michael left the room. This is our bar. Michael is our subject. Left the room is our predicate or our verb phrase. Okay? Now here's where we add the why group. I took one of the words or the phrases from my list and I added more so that he could be first in line for lunch. All of that is considered my why group. Now keep in mind, here's my bench or my bar, my basic sentence, Michael left the room. Adding the condition group. Now here it is, I'm going to leave everything the same. The condition group is in red here. So that he could be first in line for lunch. That's my reason why. Michael left the room. That's the bar. Okay, that's my subject and my verb. Now we have even though. Remember that word was from the condition group. He was only 2 doors away. This tells us the circumstances or under what conditions Michael left the room. See ways in which we can make that sentence longer. We've added several more words to this sentence and it's still grammatically correct. You might also note that the so that or the why phrase has more than 4 words, so we added a comma to separate lunch and Michael. Here it is in reverse. Even though he was the only 2 doors over, Michael left the room so that he could be first in line for lunch. You notice there isn't necessarily a comma at the end, but we definitely put it at the beginning because there's more than 4. Adding the where group. So here is where we take our word from the list, we add a few more. I've doubled up the where group in this case because I really want to be precise about where this is happening. And I said near the building 3, comma, off to the right, Michael left the room, even though he was only 2 doors over. So I hope that you see what this looks like. The where group is actually in green. Michael left the room is our bar, and we're adding to the bar. We're adding to make our sentence stronger. We're just focused on one side of the bar, however. Now here's how we add to the when group. Again, I kept it the same. Near building 3, off to the right, that's our where group. Michael left the room. When did he do it? Before the bell. So that's important to know. Before the bell. Before is one of the words from the list. Before the bell is a phrase attached that we put together to formulate or construct our sentence. Here it is in reverse. Before the bell. There's only 3 words here, so I'm not placing a comma. Michael left the room near building 3, off to the right. Michael left the room, remember, that's our bar. That's the strongest part of our sentence. This is where we're going to start. Michael left the room. We know who it is and what he did. And here is how you add the how group. This is a fun one. What I did is I did how group. I added it 3 times because there's several different ways if you look back at the list. Like lightning speed. Michael quickly left the room without hesitation. And so like is one of the words from the how group. The ly ending a word in ly is one of the words from the how group. And in with or without, I just said without hesitation. And that helps us formulate the how group. I hope that you found this helpful. We're going to spend this week sort of practicing it and getting more opportunities to understand this idea much more clearly.